Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Faith. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to be talking about the first 48 hours after you deliver your baby. I'm going to kind of break it up into two parts, one being the first 48 hours for you, and then the first 48 hours like for your baby and what they experience. I am almost 3 months postpartum, which is crazy. I probably should have filmed this video though like a month or two ago because I feel like I'm already starting to forget exactly what happened. So I did take a bunch of notes on my phone, so I'll be referring to that as we go through the video. If you are new here, again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. All you have to do is hit the red subscribe button. I make a ton of mommy videos. I have a ton of pregnancy videos on my channel from when I was pregnant, and also just general lifestyle and beauty videos and things like that. So if you like that stuff, I'd love it if you would subscribe. But yeah, let's hop right on into the video because I have a lot to get through and I just want to make sure this video doesn't go on and on. Okay, so as I mentioned, I am almost 3 months postpartum and I delivered vaginally and 100% naturally. So I actually have a video where it's kind of like a chit chat about my labor and delivery story. I will link that down below in my mommy playlist that I have in case you want to hear about that and just my general experience. But that video was about the actual labor and delivery itself. I didn't really go into what happens in the couple days that follow while you're in the hospital, but it is a good video to watch if you are pregnant and interested in hearing a story about a natural vaginal delivery. So definitely check that out, but I want to get into kind of what happens after that. So as I mentioned, I do have some things written down. I'm gonna kind of be going off of this, but I might start to ramble a little bit as I remember different things. So sorry if this video is a little bit like all over the place, but I'm gonna try and keep it as organized as possible. So I'm gonna first start with you. What happens with your body and you physically, emotionally, everything like that the next couple days, the next 48 hours after you deliver. So immediately after delivery, you may need stitches depending on if you tore or not. I did, so I needed stitches. I don't know what degree of like tear I had. The stitching itself didn't really hurt. They do inject you with like a numbing thing. Honestly, after everything that just happened and all the pressure down there, you really don't feel it. And the stitching itself just feels like a little bit of like tugging. So it's not anything to be scared of. I didn't even feel, I think I felt myself tear while I was pushing, but honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I do think it made the recovery the next couple days and into the week, actually 2 weeks to follow, a little more difficult, and I'll get into that now. So basically, I was really surprised by this. I had always heard that with vaginal deliveries, like the recovery is super fast, and I still think like it's probably a faster recovery mine was than if I were to have a C-section, but I wasn't just like up and running right away. So I actually could not stand up out of bed by myself for at least 2 hours after giving birth. I wanted to get up and go to the bathroom maybe an hour after delivering, and I literally, like, as soon as I sat up and tried to get off of the bed, I just felt completely drained. It felt like everything inside of me was going to drop out of my butt or like out of my vagina, and I felt really lightheaded. So it was probably a combination of things. One, you just exerted a ton of effort in pushing out your baby, so you're just weak. Two, because of all that pushing and pressure, and also the fact that your baby is now out and all of your organs are kind of just like sunk down, it could be why it feels like everything's about to just dump out of you. I don't know. That's not like a medical reason. That's just what I'm kind of thinking. If you're pregnant right now, you'll know what I'm talking about, but when you have your baby in there, all your organs are like smashed up inside of you, and then all of a sudden when your baby's not there anymore, it kind of just feels like your whole stomach is just dropping out of you. It's really weird. It's hard to explain. But when I tried to stand up to go to the bathroom, it just was overwhelming of like, whoa, like everything just felt like it was gonna drop out, and the pressure on my butt and vagina was really intense when I tried to stand up. Like it felt like the baby was still in there. So I was not expecting that. It wasn't like painful. I wasn't like in pain. It was just extremely uncomfortable and really difficult. Now, after that initial pressure and everything wears off, you do start to feel pain down there. Ice diapers is what my hospital called them. They literally use a baby diaper and freeze it, and you can put that in your underwear. That was awesome. I did take Motrin as well. That made a huge difference. So definitely use what the hospital gives to you. But again, I really wasn't expecting to feel so much pressure down there still. And even once I went home after the first 2 days, I still felt pressure, but most of it was in those first 48 hours, just a ton of pressure down there still. So the next thing, which might be pretty obvious, is your stomach, like your actual exterior stomach, is going to feel super floppy and just like empty. And every hour or 2 hours in the first day, a doctor or a nurse will come in and push on your stomach. And I believe that that is to make sure that no clots stay in there or like push out any excess blood. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I think they're doing that for. And it is a little uncomfortable and painful, especially the first couple times, but then once they continue to do it throughout the day, it's really not that bad. But your stomach, it's even still now, 3 months postpartum, my stomach still feels really like squishy, but it's really, really squishy the first couple days. And it is what it is. You just had a huge baby inside of you. So another thing is you have so much adrenaline pumping through your body after you've given birth that you're not even tired. At least I wasn't. I was just like almost overtired. So I started laboring. I woke up in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. and so I didn't really get sleep that night. And then Summer was born. Summer is my daughter. I don't think I actually mentioned her name yet. Summer was born at like 9:45 in the morning. So I really had not had a good night's sleep in already 24 hours. And then just from all the adrenaline pumping through your system after you give birth, I didn't sleep another 24 hours at all. And I wish I would have, because I'll get into this with the baby portion of this video, but the first 24 hours after birth, your baby is actually really sleepy and super calm. So if you can take advantage of that and get some rest, definitely do it. But it was really hard for me. I don't know if it was just the adrenaline or the excitement or whatnot, but I was just like unable to sleep, just unable to sleep, almost like insomnia, which really ended up catching up to me, because in the next few days to follow, your baby wakes up. Trust me, your baby wakes up. Don't think that you just have this calm baby because of the first day. The second day, your baby will wake up and they'll need you. So another thing that might be obvious, but maybe you didn't think of, is you are going to be so hungry those first couple days. One, because once you start laboring, you really aren't hungry, like you don't have an appetite, and you don't really eat in the hospital, so you already haven't eaten for a long time, and plus all that energy that you just used up to push out your baby makes you really hungry. I remember I ordered a cheeseburger, French fries, a salad, like a piece of cake, a ton of stuff from the hospital right after giving birth, because I was just so hungry. And then that night, Nick is my husband, we ordered a pizza. I think I ate like 2-3 pieces of pizza. I was super, super hungry. So those are kind of all of the physical things I wanted to talk about that at least I remember happening to me that I maybe wasn't expecting or just wanted to share with you guys. Now moving into some of the like emotional pieces of it, at least for me, and really all of this video is my experience. You might experience something different, but for me emotionally, I kind of thought that once I gave birth and delivered Summer, that I was just gonna have this instant connection and just be overwhelmed with emotion and be crying and like so joyful. But honestly, I was kind of just like I don't even know what the word would be. Like, I was just at a loss. Like, I had no emotion almost. I think because the labor and delivery was just so intense, because it's like a crazy physical experience. I was just shot emotionally. And I also really, like, you don't know your baby. You just don't know them as a person yet. You love them, of course, but that like connection and bond, at least for me, was not there instantaneously. It took a couple days to get there for me. So that's totally normal if you experience that, and maybe you're expecting to feel that bond right away, but if you don't, it's okay. I think it's kind of normal, especially if it's your first baby. You know, I'm thinking maybe next time for our second baby, because I know what to expect more, I'll be able to invest more emotionally. But when it's your first and it's just all overwhelming, I think it's pretty normal to shut down emotionally, and just kind of go into this like Zen mode, because so much is coming at you. You kind of just have to like shut down a little bit, if that makes sense. Oh, I have another like physical thing. I did not know. I thought, and I don't know if it's because I heard this in YouTube videos of like other people talking about this, or where I heard this, but I thought that you had to poop at the hospital in order for them to let you leave. And that's not true. Like, I didn't even poop probably for 4 days after delivery. I really can't remember how long it took. I did take stool softeners though every night just leading up to that, so that it would be easier. But I don't think you have to poop in order to leave the hospital. So if you've heard that, maybe it was just me that heard that, but I thought that that was the case, and it's not. They do ask you like if you're peeing okay and everything like that, but you don't have to poop. And then bleeding as well. The bleeding, honestly, it wasn't, maybe this is just me too, but it wasn't as bad as what I had heard or what people had said. It was like a heavy period for the first couple days, the first 48 hours after, but then once I got home, it was just like a good period. Like, it wasn't Armageddon down there. Okay, now moving into baby, the first 48 hours for baby. As soon as you have your baby, if you plan to breastfeed, you will want to do skin to skin and see if they will latch. Luckily for me, Summer latched right away. She latched on my left breast, which still to this day, my left breast I think she prefers, which I really am trying to make sure I get her on the right breast just as often, but my left breast produces more milk, and I think that that was just a mistake on my part, because it was easier for me, like learning to breastfeed, having my right hand hold her, and it was just easier for me to get her on the left breast. And I actually am thinking about making a video about breastfeeding mistakes I've made. I already made a video about how to be successful at breastfeeding, because Summer and I have been really successful, but we definitely have made mistakes along the way. So if you want to see that video, let me know in the comments. But yeah, she latched right onto my left breast, and she was on there for like 2 hours. And I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, my nipple was raw. It hurt. Definitely it hurt. So just be aware of that. They say breastfeeding shouldn't hurt, but really when you're learning the latch and they're on there so much, which I'll get into because they start to cluster feed, but it might hurt. Just be prepared that it might hurt for a little bit, but it will go away. Your nipples will get used to it, and it will go away. But as I was mentioning, the second 24 hours, day 2 of the baby's life, your baby will want to cluster feed. Summer was on me like all day, all day, and it's exhausting, and especially if you didn't get sleep that first day, which I mentioned is a great time to get sleep if you can, because your baby is so exhausted from delivery. If you didn't get sleep then, you're going to be so sleep deprived, because then that second day your baby needs you and needs to nurse constantly. And that really, I think, goes for almost all babies, is like day 2, get ready. It starts the night like that. It literally starts exactly 24 hours. It's crazy. It's like the baby just knows. It's really weird. Your milk will start to come in on day 3 or 4 most likely, and that is part of the reason the baby is cluster feeding, is that stimulation to your nipples is getting your body ready to produce milk. Like, it's telling your body to produce milk. So it's very important, but it is very exhausting. They will check your baby's vitals every few hours as well. So if you're trying to get sleep, you're not going to. Like, it's almost impossible to get sleep in a hospital. Really, there's nurses coming in every hour. They're checking your vitals, they're checking the baby's vitals. They'll take the baby to do a hearing test. They'll also take the baby to do a check on their bilirubin levels to check for jaundice. And they also will have you track your baby's wet diapers and poopy diapers. So it's really helpful if you have someone there to help you with that, especially if you don't feel like getting up out of the bed to like write things down on the dry erase board. That's where we were tracking everything. So yeah, my husband was actually the one to change all of her diapers just because it was so hard for me to get up out of bed because of the pain down there and the pressure and everything. So yeah, it is really helpful if you have someone in the hospital staying there with you to help you with that. So after a couple days at the hospital, you most likely will take your baby home with you, and this was something I was not expecting, and it was extremely painful. Getting Summer into the car seat for the first time was literally torture. It was torture. She hated it. She was screaming. Nick and I, this was our first baby, so we had zero clue how to properly put a baby in the car seat and like how to use it. And he was looking up YouTube videos on like how to do it correctly, because maybe we should have just bought like a plastic baby doll to practice on, but there was no way for us to like really practice. We thought we knew how to use it, but until you have a live baby going in that car seat, oh my gosh, it was hard. So really try and practice with the car seat if you can, if you're a first-time mom, because that can be very overwhelming. But yeah, that's basically it for the first 48 hours for baby and mom. If you guys have any questions or feel like I left out anything, put it down below in the comments. Maybe you'll help someone else who's about to go down this journey. If you are pregnant right now, let us know in the comments and we'll give you some encouragement. I hope this video was helpful for you. Maybe it gave you some insight as to what you can really expect in those first 48 hours. I know I had no clue. As many YouTube videos as you might watch, it still is different for everyone, and you just have no idea. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of help. Everything will be okay. Actually, I'm going to insert a little picture right here. Hopefully you can read it. I loved this message. It was from Sarah Emily, and it says, "To every mom out there, do you remember when your pregnancy test turned positive and you thought, can I do this? Well, you did. Do you remember being pregnant and feeling like you would never go into labor? I remember that. Well, you did. Do you remember how you thought you couldn't survive labor? Well, you did that as well." And it goes on, but that really helped me once we brought the baby home, because you are really overwhelmed with how to take care of this baby, but then when you remember, like, you got through pregnancy, you got through labor and delivery, you're gonna figure it out and get through those first couple days, and also just the rest of that baby's life. You're gonna figure it out. So hopefully that gives you some encouragement. I love you guys all so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.